There it is. Is it working? All right. So let's talk about Amazon and their horrific working conditions. I don't know what the word horrific means to Bernie, but I don't know. I think he's using a little bit of hyperbole there. You know, 9/11, that's horrific. You know, Nazi death camps, horrific. Amazon, not horrific. You know, slavery, not horrific. Oh, wait a minute. They whip us while we're at work and they don't pay us anything. So, anyway, yeah, maybe he's right. I, I don't get it. Now, just wondering, is the Navy so easy that Amazon's worse than the Navy? Hmm. Could that possibly be true?
It's kind of hard to talk about, but there was a point where I would find myself crying on my.
That would be hard to talk about because who is going to admit to crying at work? That's just weird. Do you think maybe you had emotional issues before you started working at Amazon?
My shift, and I would hide so people didn't see me.
I mean, that's just odd. He's hiding so he can cry. It's that bad. He's hiding so he can cry, and probably also so he could pee in a bottle.
I really felt like I just didn't want to be alive.
Did Amazon make you want to kill yourself, or make you wish you were dead? Or did you feel that way beforehand? Did maybe the Navy do that to you? Did a girl break up with you? Did you look in the mirror and see this nose thing? I don't know, but was it Amazon really?
Anymore, if that was the future that.
Why does working at Amazon have to be the sum total of your future? I mean, that's what you're looking forward to. Is just that's it. You're going to work in a warehouse. Why is that Why does that have to be your future? You don't have any other choice. Someone's making you work for Amazon. You were in the Navy. You came out and they said you have to work for Amazon. I don't know. One weird thing about the military and Amazon is that Amazon really likes vets, and they tend to promote them if they're good workers. They tend to get promoted easily to, or I'm not going to say easily, but they tend to want to promote veterans to management positions because they like their work ethic and leadership skills. But I mean, this guy's going hiding and crying. So I think if you're in a firefight, this is not the guy you want with you.
That I had to look forward to. Every day that I drove into work was exhausting just thinking about.
That sentence doesn't make sense, but I'm assuming he's just thinking about how exhausting the job is. Yeah, it's a tough job. You're on your feet for 10 hours a day. 4 days a week. We get 3 days off. Did they mention that? It's pretty nice work-life balance. I mean, I've been saying for years that more places should let you work 4 days a week and give you a 3-day weekend. I love having a 3-day weekend.
Having to come in and start that 10-hour shift, being on my
terrible.
feet, my feet hurt.
Get better shoes. Use your Amazon discount at Skechers and get a couple pairs of shoes. Rotate them out. Get some insoles that are mushy. Do something else with your life.
All the time.
His feet hurt all the time. You know what? I just don't believe you were in the military. I mean, you're a young guy. You'll get used to it. It's not that bad. I'm 50. I could kick your ass.
Proud of the culture that we
That's
have
right,
at
Jeff.
Amazon.
Seth King is a former
Seth
Amazon
King.
employee. He is a veteran of the
I
United
don't
States
believe it.
Navy. You served 8 years in the Navy. Is that right, Seth?
Yes. I'm used
No.
to a job being physically.
No, you're not. Did you really? Were you really in the Navy? I used to a job being physically demanding. That's kind of a typo there, but They're acting like working at an Amazon warehouse is the hardest thing in the world. It's really not.
physically demanding. There's not a lot of jobs that I don't think I can handle.
Dude, you can't handle anything. I don't even believe you were in the military. I know older ladies that will kick your ass. You can't handle working at Amazon? There's ladies there that are older than me that work there that do a good job. And you can't handle it? Something smells fishy to me.
Once I got out, I guess I was proven wrong.
Yeah, yeah. You got nothing from your Navy career.
Their model is basically, it's a revolving door of just bodies that they're...
Yes, there is a high turnover of workers because people like you can't handle it. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's not a crime. It's not for everyone. Not everyone can handle every kind of job. They can't. There are certain minimum requirements. You have to be able to lift 50 pounds. Where I work, you may have to drive a powered industrial truck, like a forklift or an order picker. You may have to, you can't have a crippling fear of heights. Well, they could find something else for you to do. But yeah, there's certain physical requirements, certain mental requirements. If you are just so miserable working independently, maybe you just won't like it. Maybe you should go work at the mall.
Throwing at the floor. I was pretty optimistic about it at first, and then within the first day, you realize, oh, this is going to take a lot out of me. You have
Look at these people. I mean, how do they even survive?
about 10 or 15 minutes after you clock in, where
Right.
you're with everybody else who's starting the shift in the same area of the warehouse. They do a couple stretches. You get a scanner, you clock into the scanner. I was a stower, so you'd grab a card.
Stowers are horrible people, so that explains something.
That had a bunch of boxes on it, scan all the boxes, and then open them one by one, taking the pieces
It sounds horrible. How dare they?
out, scanning them, and scanning the bins that you're going to put them.
Yeah, that's important to remember, the scanning of the bins. That's how they track you every second of the day. Because see that thing in her hand? That's a computer. And when they scan stuff, it goes into their database. So they basically, see, she's in a location in physical space. So they pretty much know where you are and if you're doing anything. Because if they didn't, you could just go to the bathroom and sit there for 2 hours. But it's a job, so you really can't do that.
I'm into. They'd always give us this rate at the beginning of the shift.
No, you have a rate. There's a goal for the whole building or the whole inbound or outbound to do, and then there's the rate for the process you're in. And the first month you're there, they don't even care. They just want your quality to be good. They're not concerned with your rate until you've been working there for a while and you ramp up to working at rate. And the rate is not usually that hard to do.
But no matter how hard I tried, even the days where I
This guy is just lame.
thought I was doing really well, I'd find myself falling 20%
Sorry, dude.
short of that goal.
Get a job where you can sit on your ass and do nothing. Or where you can work for 4 hours out of an 8-hour day. That would probably be better for you.
That they've set for me. And I don't know if I ever met anybody
Nobody met the goal. How is that possible? They would fire everyone eventually. Makes no sense.
that had reached those numbers. It just seemed like something that was always unattainable. You're not
How do they have goals that are unattainable? How are they still in business? Yes, you're not allowed to sit down. It's a job that you're on your feet. You have to, most of the time, either walking, you're riding on pit, or you're standing at a workstation. If you want a job where you can sit down, get a different job.
allowed to sit down, you're not allowed to.
You are so allowed to talk to other people. You just can't stop working for an hour while you have a conversation. Stop lying.
talk to other people on the same aisles. If you were
That is not true at all. Where you run into trouble is you get a thing called time off task, where it means you're going a certain amount of time without doing anything. Does anyone understand what Amazon does? Like this part of their business, not the web service, like the delivery, the ordering stuff online business. There's a thing called Amazon Prime. There's a thing called 2-day shipping. There's overnight shipping. You have to get stuff done. Things have to leave the building on time. You can't just go into work and talk to girls all day because you're horny or whatever, or you just need to socialize so bad. It's not that kind of job. But believe me, you can talk to people. Just keep it brief and get back to work. I mean, there's nobody there. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, they are whipping you.
caught talking to other people, you'd get written up.
You get written up for time off task. This guy he just needs to be talking to a cute girl or a boy all the time. He just couldn't deal with not talking.
Lack of social interaction, I thought it was something mentally that I could tough out. It just
Can you imagine being in war with this guy? He just can't handle it. The lack of talking. It's just too
gradually
tough.
became harder and harder.
Imagine if he's getting bombed. Where is he hiding? In the boiler room of the ship? I don't
The
understand.
more I found myself cut off from the world. You get
Oh my God! It's like you get to go home.
15-minute breaks and a lunch break that's 30 minutes. Even though they're 15-minute breaks, if you want to go to the break room on your break, it's a 5-minute walk there just to get off the floor, and then
my
a
God,
5-minute
it's
walk
horrible.
back. You're tracked every second of the day. Every second.
That's what I was talking about. You're working with a scanner. It's a computer. It enters into a database all the locations you've scanned, so they can see where you are. Plus, there's cameras because people have been known to steal. Oh my God. The horror.
Second that you're out there, somebody's watching you. You do.
Now, before he said there was no social interaction. He's so isolated, but then they're watching him all the time. Which one is it? Where I work, if you're a picker, you're pretty much on your own. Unless they need you for something. Nobody's watching you, but they're tracking your every move.
Your break stuff and then come back, and on that exact 15-minute mark
is
when
true.
you get back, you have to be scanning an item in.
You have to be working. Like I said, stuff's got to get out the door. Stuff has to be stowed so pickers can pick it. This is not rocket science.
To the bin. So you even have to kind of go back early just to get started on that. I had to use
the
those breaks to
horror.
use the restroom because if I
This is the thing I don't understand with the bathroom stuff. Do people have bladder issues? They can't go a couple hours without having to pee? They have to pee every 5 minutes? So go to the bathroom. But you can't stay in there all day. You gotta come out. Do you understand how big a warehouse is? If everybody could just go off and do whatever, don't you think people would be fucking off like crazy?
I did use the restroom when I wasn't on break, I would have a floor manager come and find me and ask me why I wasn't being
Yeah, what are you taking 20 minutes to go to the bathroom? If everybody did that, nothing would get done.
The first training day, we started with about 30 people, and by the fourth training day, there was only 8 because so many realized.
That's good. Maybe they went there and they wanted to see what it was like, and they said, you know what, this is not for me. Maybe they got intimidated by it, or maybe they just didn't give it enough of a chance, and they weren't used to working a job where you have to work steadily. So they were like, forget it, I'm going to go back to hanging out in the mall at at the Gap or something. I don't see what the big deal is. The people that don't like it or that can't do it, they go and do something else, and those that are okay with it, they stay.
As they just weren't cut for how physically demanding the job was. I felt that pretty immediately, but I needed the money. I would think to myself, once I got off, I was gonna go home.
I mean, yeah, here's what he's talking about. He's going to go home and kill himself. I mean, don't you think it's disgusting that Bernie would use this guy in this way? Doesn't it seem weird? It does to me. Like, this is his agenda. You're taking a guy that's got emotional problems, and you're going to use him to try and take down Jeff Bezos.
And do it. I really, really felt like killing myself. Towards the end of the time I was there, I was so depressed, and I kept telling myself, if this is the best my life is.
Do you think maybe you were depressed before you got to Amazon, and Amazon, having a job that was a little bit isolating for you and difficult made you more depressed? Maybe? Do you think it wasn't their fault? It's not really the job. Maybe you had issues. Does anyone believe this story? Unfortunately, millions of people believe it, because if you look on the comments online, it's like everybody's like, Amazon, it's the new sweatshops, just destroy them.
Going to get. Why am I even still here? And I called one of my best friends, and she told me, if working there really makes you feel like this, if you feel like taking your own life.
Yeah, that's right. Don't work there, dude. I'm sure your co-workers were probably like, yeah, man, I'm guaranteed there was a guy there like me that was just hoping that you would quit.
Because of the job you're working at, don't work there. There's no work environment that should make you feel like that. And so I left, and
Yay! Good for you.
And the issue of
And the
working
stock went up.
conditions, I'm very proud of our working conditions.
look how much
There's literally nothing wrong with the working conditions there. I want someone to come and tell me what's so bad about the working conditions. I mean, other than the guy that whips you while you're there, that's the only bad part.
money he's making. It's never going to be.
Here's the part where they get jealous about how rich Jeff Bezos is, because he thought of Amazon and they didn't.
His concern whether or not we're.
I've never been in a place that is more concerned with worker safety. They are obsessed. And they are obsessed with improving constantly, to the point where it's like annoying. But where I work, it's 10 times better than when I started. It's constant incremental improvements.
Okay. To Amazon's bottom line, we're statistics. There was an
Oh my
older
God,
lady,
how dare they be a business?
she and I always ended up running into each other when we were out on the floor.
If you're an old lady and your legs are falling apart, maybe do something
Every week or
else.
so, she had some new brace because she was trying to
Feel
keep
bad
up with
for
how
her,
demanding
but
the job was.
I
It
don't
was already
believe
hurting
anything-
me.
I don't believe anything this guy says, so I don't know. But yeah, I see people wearing braces. Things are tough.
And I'm still in my 20s.
I bet you these guys are glad that you're gone from the Navy, because they don't have to double up and cover.
Fresh out of the military, to see her having to work under the same conditions as I was, and it physically, literally break her.
And this is a company owned by a person whose wealth increases
He owns stock in his own company. How terrible.
$275 million every
Don't you wish you did, Bernie? Sell one of your houses.
single day. And those are the kinds of conditions that workers
What does that have to do with that's like a non sequitur. Here's a guy that makes $2 billion a second, and these are the conditions that the workers are living under.
are living under who work for Mr. Bezos.
Maybe that's
make
why
any
Amazon is
sense.
experimenting with drones, because they work and they don't complain.
Pretty ridiculous that he
Believe me, they complain. God, people complain about nothing. It's just so much complaining. That's all everyone in this world does anymore, is complain.
is the richest man in the world and has people working full-time at Amazon having to apply for food stamps.
That's unfortunate. Maybe they need a better job.
Because they can't afford to eat.
As we
I'm eating, okay.
hear these stories.
Then again, I am married and my wife works. Guess what? Her insurance as a teacher was so bad that we had to switch to my insurance at Amazon. And now we're saving over $8,000 a year. Bernie would never tell you that, though.
It speaks to the incredible culture
incredible
of greed
culture of
in
greed.
this country. I mean, Seth
And
talked
greed.
about it. People, in a sense, are disposable. So
What job is there where you don't get fired if you don't do your job?
we work somebody to a point of no
What is he talking about? They just kill you?
return, and then we get rid of them, we bring somebody else in.
Yeah, if you can't do the job or you don't like the job, then you leave and then another person gets a chance for the job. What is he
And we have to
talking
ask
about?
ourselves a very fundamental question as to whether or not that is the kind of country and the kind of economic culture that
Oh, no, we want a country where everybody's thin because they're starving, right?
we are comfortable with. And I think most Americans are not.
That's Bernie, whatever. Such nonsense. Well, let's hope that worked. I've tried doing this video before and it didn't work. And if this one didn't work, I'm not going to do it again. But I'm disappointed in Bernie that he doesn't tell you anything positive about working there. And I'm pretty sure he's never taken a tour of a Amazon facility. He doesn't tell you about the benefits. He doesn't tell you about the training that they offer. He doesn't tell you about the compensation for tuition. There's a lot of things that he doesn't tell you about. He doesn't tell you how they favor veterans, even though he used a mentally, emotionally disturbed veteran to further his agenda. He doesn't tell you any of that stuff. I don't know if he had anything to do with Amazon giving everyone raises, but they don't give us stocks anymore because of it. We don't have performance or attendance bonuses anymore because of it. But a lot of that was workers voted against those things because they wanted to get the money up front, whereas they didn't want to have to work for it. In some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. It's like everything in life, there's a trade-off. You can't get everything you want. Working in a warehouse does not have to be your career. You should probably do something else if you hate it. I personally like working there. It's not horrific. It's not terrible. I've actually been treated very well. Everybody there has been super fair and super nice. I've never been yelled at. I've never been disrespected. I've had some dicky bosses in the past. I feel like everybody that I've worked for at Amazon has been very cool and approachable. It annoys me that Bernie puts out these videos. This is only one that just bothers me the most, especially because of the guy featured in the video who seems like he's got emotional problems. And Bernie just has no problem with saying, look, Amazon will make you want to kill yourself, and I think it's disgusting. So that's that. Whatever. Don't vote for Bernie. He's full of baloney. Yay. And don't work at Amazon. It's one step away from being in the gulag.